Hello viewers, welcome to the show Real Stories, brought to you by Bioadex Communications Limited, where you get to hear impactful stories from personalities who have made remarkable success in their chosen career. These stories will inspire you, motivate you, and make you believe in yourself that whatever you set your mind to achieve is achievable. My guests are people who have walked different paths in life, and they have stories to tell that you will learn from. My guest today is a woman, an outstanding personality, a chartered accountant, and she's been on this career path for over 2 decades. My guest is Mrs. Hafsat Olubukanla Rufai. Hafsat has over 20 years of proven and verifiable track record of contributing to the development of the financial services sector in Nigeria. She has served in many committees, boards, council, and delivered capacity development lectures to shape policy trust and innovation in the financial sector, both in Nigeria and overseas. She was a member of the committees that developed the capital market master plans in Nigeria. She is the Director of Registration, Exchanges, and Market Infrastructure Development, and the highest-ranking female staff of the Securities and Exchange Commission, the apex regulatory body of the capital markets in Nigeria. Hafsat holds many professional and academic qualifications, including being a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, member of Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment, associate of Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, associate of Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, among others. A veteran, did I hear you say? Yes, she's a veteran. 2 decades and still counting. Welcome to the show, ma'am, Mrs. Hafsat Olubukanla Rufai.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
Okay, so let's start from there. We know your name, we know the career path, but there are still so many things we do not know about you. So let's start from there, ma'am. Tell us about yourself from childhood days to this very moment. Let's journey into your world.
Childhood seems a long time, but I'll try. All right. I was born into a family of 4 children, a nuclear family, dad, mom, and 4 of us. I attended Okusoya Memorial Primary School and subsequently public school, and subsequently moved on to St. Joseph Primary School as well. And then I moved on from St. Joseph to Lagos State Model College, Mero. I am one of those who were the first students of the school. We started off from K2 at a temporary site and then moved on to Mero here in Lagos State. I graduated from there and then proceeded to the Polytechnic. I studied financial studies that's at the national diploma level, and then did an internship, a 1-year internship, which was mandatory. I had that at Cadbury Nigeria PLC. After that, I went back to Federal Polytechnic Ilaro to acquire the higher national diploma qualification. So at both the ND and HND, I had upper credits. Going from there, moved on to service. I didn't stop studying. I became a chartered accountant just about 3 or 4 years after graduation. Got married in the process, had children. I still wanted to study more, so there were bits of ups and downs. Marriage came, children came, so I slowed down a bit. But I was still in my career. I am a career woman. I didn't let marriage take me out of working. I like to follow my passion, and I do so with a lot of determination. So it was, yes, a bit tough managing home and work. But I was determined to keep myself happy both at home and at work. And so I found a way to put the 2 together. And then I went on still studying. I didn't stop studying. I gave myself a break at some point, but I kept on studying. And when I say studying, I mean formally and informally. So formally to acquire a certificate, informally, there's always something to learn. I never stopped learning. I still haven't stopped learning. But I went back to more formal studies when I went back to acquire a BSc just a few years ago. I think I rounded that up in 2020 or 2021. And then in the process anyway, I had acquired other professional qualifications. I'd become a member of Chartered Institute of Securities and Investments UK. I'd become a chartered stockbroker. I had become a chartered accountant in the first instance, then became a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. Became a chartered stockbroker, became a chartered administrator and secretary, so that's secretary and administrator. I also became a member of the Taxation Institute in Nigeria. But I went on with my formal studies, acquired that BSc from the American International University, the Gambia. And then I didn't stop at that. I recently also backed a master's in business administration from University of Lagos Business School, that's ULBS, and I made that despite I'm not very old, but despite where I have attained and I'm still growing. I made a distinction, 4.97 CGPA to be precise, and that I just acquired last year. So the journey is still on. I'm still studying, and I believe that for you to progress, you shouldn't allow yourself to get rusty. So you work and learn and unlearn and relearn. So learning is part of what I do as I see it as basic. I won't stop learning. That's one of the things that make you shine.
Oh, that's good. That's interesting, ma. You mentioned that at the point, you got married, and yes, you didn't stop. You were still learning. You were still doing things, towards achieving your dreams. I'll come to that later on how you were able to strike the balance, in everything you represent. But you have attained an enviable height, ma. How did the journey start? It didn't start today, of course. How did the journey start, and how did success evolve?
All right. So I must say that a lot contributed to it. You call it enviable. So I take that very humbly. I still haven't attained my goal, but yes, I'm on the journey. There's a lot that one has to put into the wheels when you're on the journey to success. First is to define what success is, so that when you attain success, you know you have attained success. I define success early in life with the guidance, of course, of family and close associates. So again, so I defined success, and success to me had many parameters. Family was one, career was another, amongst a few others, which I would not mention at the moment. And I kept my eyes on the goal. I must say, yes, hard work and dedication contributed to it. But not only that, I recognize very much the value of family and the value that people around you add to it. I believe that I couldn't have attained any measure of success that I have set for myself without the support of family, without the support of friends, and without looking up to people. So mentorship does count. I didn't go through a formal mentorship program, but there were people I looked up to and I wanted to be like them. I heard their stories and I was inspired by their stories, and I strived to be like them. But I would also say emphatically that the role that my family played went a long way, and indeed still goes a long way in what I do. So my father will tell you, so as you lay your bed, so you lie on it. He says hard work before pleasure. I mean, there were some very short phrases he would say every now and then that seemed to have some impact on me. So even when one felt, oh, I'm striving too hard, I'm getting tired, when you remember that daddy said, work before pleasure. As you lay your bed, so you lie on it. Dangote didn't make it in one day. Or daddy would say, if you say, no, I can't take that shit. I remember what I told him, I can't take that shit. And he says, oh no, for you to be successful, you must be able to take a lot of shit. You must be tolerant. You must be able to remain focused despite adversity. And all of that, I would say, shaped me. Even after marriage, my husband became a mentor pushing even when I felt something wasn't necessary. He would say, no, it is necessary. So just go ahead and do it. I mean, I wouldn't have done the MBA I did if he didn't support. So family has been very supportive. The home didn't suffer, but at least I know that there were sacrifices that they had to make while I studied. And by the way, I'm the type that studies very hard. So if I have an exam, I will study for between 12 to 17 hours in a day. And I still do that.
So everything might have to wait at that time. Or how would you do it so that one doesn't suffer for the other?
So again, it takes a lot of planning. I'm not sure that something suffers, but first and foremost, I think the Bible is what says, train your children so that you can have some respite. So I put the children in the way of that training. I'm not a Christian though, but I learned, so knowledge is diverse. I learned that you have to put the children in the way of knowledge, in the way of hard work early in life. So they started taking up roles little by little. So it wasn't too difficult if they had to fill a role temporarily and all of that. And then I'm by nature a good multitasker. In fact, I get bored when I have to do only one thing. And so juggling everything, planning ahead helps me a lot. I don't like being impulsive. So if I now want to get into a program, I begin to think about what to adjust, what not to adjust, stocking up the freezer if I have to stock up and things like that. So the stress would be more on me. Yes, a bit of sacrifice here and there for other members who may be impacted by what I do, but there's really never a living one for the other.
Okay, man, looking back at the journey to greatness, what would you say you did differently that changed the narratives for you?
A number of things. What did I do differently? I think for me, what was most important was keeping my eyes on the ball and putting at par my personal aspiration and my business aspiration, I would say. So I work for government quite a lot, but I mean, what you do is still business. So I excel by the grace of God at what I do at work, but I also still have my personal aspiration, and I do not fail to put them at par. So while I work very hard for my employer and I make sure I deliver on all my KPIs as much as possible, and I think I usually do deliver on all my KPIs, I also don't fail to meet my personal aspirations. So my personal aspiration would include career development, knowledge, gaining more knowledge. I mean, I learn to improve myself, and my employer, of course, will benefit from it. I also invest. So I put my at par also my investment goals, which is part of my personal goal. I put everything at par. I think the real thing that distinguishes me, I would say, is that the ability to put at par those two deliverables is what probably makes one succeed. I do not let my personal aspirations suffer because of my work. I also will not let my work suffer because of my personal aspirations. So the ability to put them together is actually, what I feel is a distinguishing factor.
Okay, what was the acceptance like being a female ma, your male counterpart, and you're rising, you're climbing the ladder to where you are at the moment, ma? So what was it like for you? Working.
So interestingly, we're celebrating the International Women's
Soon, yes, and that's when the question
and
came
I'm
up.
a big advocate for women. But I tell you what, women are not people who beg for recognition. I tell people it is best to strive for success. If you do well, people will seek you. At that point in time, the gender line may become blurry. I think excellence distinguishes you, and excellence makes people seek you, irrespective of gender. I do recognize that there are biases, implicitly and explicitly, but I feel that if you excel, you scale the hurdle a bit. I also feel, just like every other woman who advocates for women, that yes, because of the society that we belong to and the cultural values that seem to pervade the system, women may need to have some quota, right? But in my own case, I tell you what, I don't know the difference between men and women when I'm working. I belong to professions actually that are male dominated. talk about being a chartered accountant, talk about being a stockbroker. Till date, we have more men than women. So we call ourselves city gentlemen. And I am a gentleman for that purpose. so it's about being you, being excellent, believing that you're excellent, believing that your gender is not a barrier. I do not consider gender a barrier. I'm able to compete in everything I do. And to the glory of God, I've excelled in quite a number of things, professionally, academically, and all that. It didn't matter that I was a woman in my class or not. I still came out with a distinction last year, like I said. It wasn't about being a woman or a man. It was about being dedicated, being focused, and learning very hard and being able to deliver. So I do not think that my gender has been of adverse effect in anything that I do, but I recognize that we need to continue to promote women. This time around, we're seeing our theme is accelerate action, and I am a big advocate of that. So women should accelerate action, learn, adapt to the environment. Economic situation may not be as favorable as you think. Please adapt, be innovative, find ways to positive ways. I mean, to succeed. Don't relent. Don't play the loser card. We will accelerate our action to success. You have to always go back to the drawing board, strategize, adapt. If you have to cut your budget, you cut your budget. If you have to change your lifestyle, you change your lifestyle. But by all means, please accelerate action to success.
Thank you, Ma. I know many women would want to learn from you. You are a mother, a career woman, a professional. How have you been able to strike a balance, between everything you represent?
I think I have sort of touched on all of those. It's still all around focus, defining your goals, setting the measures of success. Some people just focus on doing things right without checking out whether they are doing the right things. Define what you want. Determine what will enable you to get to your target. Don't just follow the bandwagon. I define success my own way. You can define yours your own way. It's not a race, actually. I don't even compete by nature. I excel. I always seek to excel. And I'm not saying it's without humility. I'm only just saying by nature, I don't see competition. I don't like to compete. If I come first, fine. I don't even aim to come first. Interestingly, I only just aim to excel. So if excelling means coming first, it's fine. If it means coming second, it's fine. If it means just attaining my goal, it's fine. I mean, I don't aspire to be as rich as Dangote, for instance.
Really? Oh, that's good.
That's not my own measure of success. But I admire the fact that he's a go-getter. He has focus on expanding his businesses. He's very innovative. He breaks barriers. He expands his horizon. Those are things I can tap from, but I'm not looking forward to as much wealth.
That's that. So if wealth is not your measure for success, what exactly is the measure? What do you call success? What is success to you, Ma?
So I'm not saying wealth is not a measure of success, but it is not, I'm not looking for that amount of wealth. Wealth is important.
Very.
Because we have to survive and we have to be happy. But it's not that amount of wealth. It's not my aspiration. If it comes, well, but that's not what I aspire to be. So I just want to be happy. I want to achieve my basic goals. I want to attain certain heights in my career. I want my family to be in certain states. I want the children to aspire and become whatever they seek to become. I don't even draw up the agenda for them. I want to see them succeed. I want to help them succeed. I want to be able to take care of my family. I want to perform my religious obligations. So I have various measures of success. Basic, but I think, well, for me, I think that they are basic. So even attaining the height of one's profession to me is basic because there's a path to getting there. And I think it's easy to say, well, keep learning, keep aspiring, keep networking. So I don't lose focus on those things. But like I said, my measure of success is different from yours, it's different from Dangote's own, it's different from different people's own. So I've got various measures of success and I don't lose sight of them.
Okay, Ma. So what are the challenges, or what is the challenge, or what were the challenges you faced on this journey, and how were you able to surmount it?
To be candid, I think marriage and childbirth were quite challenging in that I didn't envisage I would become sickly in pregnancy and things like that. I mean, I've seen a lot of people jog around, or well, maybe not jog, but at least being smart in pregnancy and being able to do their thing. Yes, I saw those on the other extreme who had to be on bed rest and all that. I thought I was a strong lady. I thought my life would just continue normally. But then pregnancy came and it slowed down a lot of things. I was ill in and out. And then even after childbirth, it wasn't so easy. So, I mean, I think family slowed down the pace. Like I said, I didn't lose focus on my career, but it slowed down the pace of my professional aspiration. I had become a chartered accountant anyway right away at that time, but I wanted to acquire other qualifications. I would have loved to do a master's and all of that. So it slowed down. It didn't derail me. It slowed me down for a few years, I would say. But again, don't forget that success is also, family success is also a measure of success for me. So I prioritized that at some point. And then the others did not suffer. I slowed down a bit on some. And at the right time, I rebalanced my aspiration, never losing sight on any. I think, like I always say, there's no competition. Don't walk by other people's plan. Don't feel threatened that somebody is moving ahead. It really doesn't matter if somebody moves ahead of you, except it is your own aspiration to move ahead of that person. But really, that's not me. So I don't set my standards based on other people's standards. I just see myself and I realize that to be who I want to be, I still need the support of others. And so it's important to continue to network. So, the direct answer to your question is, I think one thing that slowed me a bit was making the family at that time. But no regrets. At the right time, I rebalanced it and I'm back to where I am. One other challenge I had, I would say, was when I was doing the MBA. So if I ever wanted to give up in anything, it was when I was doing my MBA. It was tough. Tough because I had become an executive and I was schooling. And I was not ready to lower my standard. My standard is to excel. It was tough. I would say a few times I said, look, I think I'm leaving this thing. Nobody's even in need of this certificate anyway. So if I ever wanted to give up on anything, it was the MBA. Yet I still excelled at it. So I think that's where focus, that's where you draw your strength from others. Classmates will say, oh no, Madam Rufai, you can still do it. Let's not stop. And my husband will say, no. I never married a failure. My dad, who had always wanted me to have a master's, and by the way, I have two dads. So I have him and I have his cousin, who I call my second dad, who then gave me the strongest handshake I've gotten in recent years when I said I finally acquired an MBA and made a distinction. So, they had their aspiration for me, but to the glory of God, I think I made it. All they wanted was do a master's after your ICANN, but I had more, and I think I didn't. So I haven't let them down, and I haven't lost focus as well. But studying the MBA at Unilag Business School, which was tough. It was, Unilag Business School, if you know, it is a tough school. Combining that with executive level career was really, really tough. So I finished that last year, like I said, and this whole year I've told myself, no,
I'm taking a break.
I read articles here and there, but no serious studies this year. That I think I deserve.
And you come back when you're coming back. You're coming back,
I can still come back, but I've chosen to be a lifelong learner, so it's fine.
Okay, you said something. You shared an experience that one of the things that slowed you down was when you got married and you started having babies. We still have women going through that presently. What would you say to them, to navigate their way through that stage? Because sometimes some people don't even get back on their feet after giving birth, after, taking care of the children and all of that. They don't get back to their career. So most times they don't. So what would be your advice to them? How did you do it that you were able to, you went through that stage and you still came back without losing focus?
All right, so two things. People have different aspirations. Some would like to remain career women despite having children. Some don't want to be. no issues on either part. But for me, I think it's still about not losing focus. By nature, I know that I'm not the type who will sit at home. I will be bored silly. So I knew that I had to make everything work. Like I said, putting all my goals at par, right? So if I wanted to focus only on family is personal, it's fantastic, but this is Hafsat. Hafsat also has her goal. Hafsat doesn't want to be bored. And if she doesn't work, she'll be bored. So, so I needed to just ensure that for the sake of happiness, for the sake of avoiding boredom, I didn't lose track. So at that time, maternity leave was only 3 months. I made things work. My mother-in-law was supportive. I had domestic workers. I planned my time knowing that I had to be at work on time. I had to deliver all my target. I had to hit all my targets. It was for me a matter of succeeding at all levels and not wanting to be bored. I've really never been the type who has been out of work, so I may not have experienced unemployment in the sense that people may talk about it today, other than the few months after service where I needed to get a job. But I don't want to experience it. And so the choice of leaving work for some years, like some people will do, wasn't mine at all. Yet I know others who left work. And I'm fine with it. We're all different people. The world would be very boring if we all do things the same way.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be my path, but just define yours and go with what it is. I don't work by other people's plans. I work with my plan. And I get the support of others for my plan. I also help others to succeed. Again, you can't be a success if you don't help others. You must be able to point at people that you have helped. So while I get help from people, I also make sure that I'm able to support people. But I do not work with other people's plans. I just work with my plan. So my plan was never to be unemployed, and I stuck to it.
That's good, Ma. So my next question would be that moment on this path, that that very thing that happened, that when you look back you smile and you're like, yes, I'm proud of myself. I'm glad I didn't quit. I would want you to share that with us, but that will be after this short break. Welcome back to the show. It's still Real Stories, and my guest is Mrs. Hafsat Olubukanla Rufai. Okay, Ma, so I asked a question before we went on that break. What is that very thing that happened on this path that when you look back, you smile to yourself and you're proud of yourself that yes, you didn't quit at any moment?
Well, I think it was MBA. Because
the one you just bagged recently?
Yes, in most recent times, that was the most challenging thing I did. So, and I wanted to quit. So I'm glad I didn't quit. I feel proud that I still graduated with a distinction. So it's the executive MBA program.
Okay, so you've scaled through many orders in life and on your career path. So what advice do you have, for people out there who wants to walk same path or something, their chosen path? What advice do you have for them when they have those such orders or anything that has to do with their career?
So I think I would say that people should just remain resilient. They should be determined. They should identify mentors. It helps a lot when you identify a mentor who you mirror. Mentors, like I said, can be people you know directly that you can go to. Sometimes for a coach, maybe a coach, somebody who coaches you formally, maybe a mentor you just look up to, whether the person knows you or not. I didn't meet one-on-one with a mentor, but I had people who I respect and I would like to be like. I've listened to stories like I am sharing a number of times from people I may not have ever met, and I feel that it helped me a great deal. So I would say that people should identify mentors. They should remain focused at what they do. They should also adapt to changes. Adaptability always wins. So you can't say because you had planned in a certain way and some unintended or unexpected occurrence comes, you would give up. You should find ways to adapt. Adaptability always means you must find if life gives you lemon, you make lemonade. If no matter what it is, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Some people want the light to be in front of the tunnel or at the entrance of the tunnel. But I think that we can always remain resilient and focused. I think that has helped me. Family, like I said, surround yourself with the kind of people who will support your dream or who you would like to be like. Support yourself with the right people. That also helps. If you support yourself with the wrong people, you probably find yourself doing the wrong things. So support yourself with the right people. Identify what you'd like to do. Always know the difference between right and wrong. Unfortunately, I've met people who, at some point, lost focus on what was right. They lost the definition of right and wrong. They got everything mixed up. Never find yourself in such a circumstance. Always know the difference between right and wrong. Ethical conduct is important. Never compromise on ethics. Never do anything that becomes questionable to the extent that you won't be able to defend yourself easily. Just aspire to be upright at everything you do and remain focused. Walk the path of success. Never give up easily. And as for women, don't bow to bias. Women are great. The gender is great. We won't allow anybody to push us aside. We're not competing. Like I always say, there's a place for everyone. Women are homemakers. We may not be at the top of the hierarchy at home, but we can influence the handout rules and we can take that position greatly so. Whether it is you find yourself in career especially, be a good follower and be a good leader. You can lead from the middle, you can lead from the rear. You can also lead from the top and you can lead from the front. I like to lead from the front when I have leadership roles. Some people would rather lead from wherever they prefer, but my strategy is to lead from the front. It helps me to achieve my team objectives very quickly. It also helps when you handhold others and never despise anyone. Everybody has some value. Even a bad clock is correct at least twice a day. So never lose focus on the fact that, identify the strength of the people around you. I'm never somebody who goes alone. I like to work with people, and depend on people around me. It really does help a lot. So identify the strengths of people around you, harness their strength. If they need support, be quick to give them support and ask for help. So I don't act like I can do it all or I know it all. I do ask for help. I ask for support and I enjoy the support. And so when I need to give support as well, I do give support. And I think all of this put together would help.
Thank you so much. I must say I enjoyed every moment. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure those watching us today have learned a lot from you, Ma. Thank you for coming on the show, Ma. Okay, and that's my guest again, Mrs. Hafsat Olubukanla Rufai. Thank you so much, Ma, for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And that's it on today's show. That's Real Stories. I'm sure you've learned a lot from Mrs. Rufai. Yes, she came prepared. Yes, she's a veteran and we've walked our journey with her. She's told us a whole lot of things, and I'm sure you've learned a lot, just as I have learned a lot from her. So many thanks to my production team. Till I come your way again, my name is Waliat Adedimeji. Thank you. Bye.